Welcome back to the Scotti-BYTE channel, and this is Scott. So today I wanted to review a few things from yesterday's presentation about LXD Windows VMs. So normal LXD containers use storage from the host system by mounting the root file system in a separate mount point for each container. LXD VMs use a disk container which emulates a file system inside of a file, similar to the way that a normal VM operates. It appears that the LXC config device override win11 root size equals 50 GB command actually set the size of the Windows C drive, and originally I thought all it did was set the size of the root file system. So the issue with not being able to reach the LXD Windows VM instance was resolved by loading the Red Hat VirtIO Windows drivers for the network adapter. There is also a VirtIO driver for the Windows display adapter, which allows for setting and changing the screen resolution. So here we are at the command prompt for my LXD VM host, and if I do a LXC list, you can see that my Windows 11 LXD VM is currently stopped. I start it with the LXC start win11 space -- console equals VGA, and it starts. There's the BIOS screen. Windows is starting up. Windows is fully booted. I log in, and there we are. So the first thing you're going to notice about this display today is that we have full screen resolution, and that was achieved through the installation of the VirtIO drivers. If I go into my downloads directory, you can see that I have downloaded the VirtIO WinGuest tools, and I also downloaded the VirtIO driver disk. So if I go into this PC and I do a properties, actually if I go into this PC and I do a manage PC, can tell I don't use Windows all that often. And then I go to Device Manager. Some of the changes that we'll notice is the display adapters are now using the Red Hat VirtIO GPU controller. The disk drives are still using the QEMU, but if you go down and look at the human interface adapter, you will see that there are VirtIO drivers in here that do inevitably control those devices. And then if I look at the controller, you can still see that it's a standard controller. But if I look down through network adapters, here's the Red Hat VirtIO Ethernet adapter. You'll recall from yesterday's presentation that when I tried to ping the LXD Virtual Machine from outside of the, well, not outside of the network, but from the main LAN, I could not ping it at the time. Now, if I bring up a Linux terminal this time on my host, bring it over here, and I say ping 172.16.1.202, you can see that now it can be correctly pinged. So there's a couple of devices here, a couple PCI devices that for whatever reason did not configure. I'm not sure why that is. You'll recall that I requested 4 processors, and so I've got 4 processors that came down here. And the storage controllers are also Red Hat VirtIO SCSI pass-through controller. And basically with all those devices now being the Red Hat VirtIO drivers, the performance of the LXD Windows 11 VM has been dramatically improved over what we initially had. So here I am at my instance of Apache Guacamole, which I've also covered on the channel previously. And I went ahead and enabled the RDP server on our Windows 11 LXD VM now that the VirtIO network driver is operating properly and it's reachable from the network. And here I have my Windows 11 LXD VM. If I click on it, it goes ahead and logs in to that VM via RDP, and there we are. And of course, I can go full screen by coming down here and doing the zoom, and the press F11 to exit screen dissolves, and there we are. We have a full screen display through RDP to our LXD VM host. So in summary, the Windows 11 LXD VM boots and runs remarkably fast and should be considered as a viable alternative for desktop as a service offerings. The Red Hat VirtIO drivers add both function and performance to the Windows LXD VM. I have made updates to the original show notes for these additional details, and if you reference yesterday's presentation, the show notes show these changes. Anyway, that's it for today. Please subscribe and like to the channel, and we'll see you next time.